Hello everyone and welcome back to another Doctor Who figure review. In today's Doctor Who figure review I'm doing a throwback review and taking a look at one of the highly sought after Doctor Who figures in the character options line, and that is the Vespiform Collect and Build figure. So the way this video is going to work is I'm going to take a look at the packaging for this figure. Well, I say all of the packaging, it's basically the layout of the Vespiform packaging from that wave, and then do a little bit of a history on the character options collect and build figures. And then we're going to take a closer look at the articulation and detail of this big old waspy boy. So without further ado, let's take a look at the packaging. So taking a look at the packaging for the Vespiform wave, so it was essentially the Series 4 clamshell packaging. So we have includes collect and build Vespiform part, 12 parts to collect, Series 4, the lovely orange fiery background there, we've got the figures displayed there, and of course we have the Vespiform part. The classic name tag there, 25 adipose, and this set is surprisingly rare for what it actually is. The back of this set, so we've got collect and build, and we have a lovely image of the Vespiform figure there, 12 parts to collect, a lovely bio on the Vespiform itself, well, Unicorn and the Wasp, and then over 20 centimeters long, and then how to assemble your Vespiform. So there we go. Moving on to the history of the Vespiform figure now. Now I didn't get this when it was released because I, as a kid, bought the figures when they first came out, and then character options decided to re-release all the Series 4 figures but package them with a Vespiform part, meaning many people like myself at the time missed out on this figure, and I guess that is why the Vespiform is quite a highly sought after figure, because people weren't going to double dip to get the Vespiform. Luckily I managed to get this on eBay for about 50 quid about 5 years ago, so yeah, one of my bargains of the figure world, I guess. So let's take a closer look at the history of the character options builder figures. The first collect and build figure character options released was in the summer of 2008 with the collect and build K1 robot, part of the first wave of the classic series figures. Then in January 2009 we saw the release of the Vespiform. Then around about the same time we saw the Cyber Controller from Tomb of the Cybermen join the classic figure lineup. Again in 2009 we saw the collect and build Gelf Phantom. There was one more collect and build figure planned for the classic series wave 2 figures, which was the Crinoid, but that figure never saw the light of day. What figures did you need to complete the Vespiform? Well, the lower stand was with the Vashtarada suit creature, the upper stand was with the Natural Ood, the head with the Supreme Dalek, the upper thorax, Davros, the lower front thorax, the Pyrovel Priestess, the lower back thorax was with Professor Riversong, the right wing with Halfpeck, the front abdomen was with Sontaran Commander Score, and the middle abdomen was with Ood Sigma. The back abdomen was with Donna Noble, and the sting with the 25 adipose. So here is the Vespiform in all its collect and build glory, and doesn't it look absolutely stunning? It's kind of surprising having it in person and seeing how big of a thing it actually is, because it is a big old thing, and we'll do a size comparison in a minute. But before we do the detail and take a closer look, let's do the articulation for the Vespiform. Articulation wise, for the Vespiform, the head can do a full 360-degree turn, and it is ball jointed, so the head can move down, so it can look down, which is pretty nice, and of course can look up. The legs are all articulated, so they can all do a 360-degree turn. If you can position the legs like so, you can get 360-degree turn movement out of all 6 legs. We do have ab swivel, which can do a full 360-degree turn, and of course that is ball jointed, so it can move around the abdomen like so, which is really nice. The wings are ball jointed, so they can swivel and move in any direction, so you can position the wings anyway, and they can move up and down as well, so there is a fair amount of articulation. Moving on to the detail for the Vespiform. Now this is a really detailed figure. So we start off with the head. So we start off with, I guess, the antennas. I presume they're antennas. We've got this sort of orangey brown sort of base coat, which fades into this lovely sort of purpley burgundy colour scheme, which has a slight black wash, and as you can see it really does highlight the detailed bits of the antennas themselves. If we move to the head is moulded in a yellow plastic with a slight orange wash over it, which really does get into a sort of a section detail of the Vespiform figure itself, which really does give that sort of lifelike look to the figure itself. The mandibles are done really well. As you can see, we've got this sort of orange fading into the darker sort of colour scheme, same as sort of the antenna and the actual feet of the Vespiform, which is done really well. If we look at the sort of lower half of the head, again we've got that great sort of orange wash, which really does highlight the detail. You can see the section detail and the lower section of the head, which really does make the figure pop. The eye of the Vespiform is done really well. That sounds like a song, doesn't it? The eye of the Vespiform. But the eye is done superbly. As you can see the little different sections of the eye there, the little circles, which is done really well. And that's been given a slight sort of purple wash to sort of show a little bit more of the texturing and the detail of the Vespiform, and really does make it look like an insect eye. It's just absolutely superb. And again, we've got this little bit of fur detail there, which has been given the sort of orange wash to really accentuate the detail so it doesn't get lost in sort of the yellow bits of the paint. And again, the great thing with this Vespiform is the shading, as you can see, of the sort of bottom of the abdomen there. You can see the sort of orangey brown sort of shading to give it that really lifelike look to it, and I think that it is absolutely superb. So we move to the top of the Vespiform. I have to say that this is done really well. You can see all the various bits of shading to really accentuate the sort of hair detail, which is done really well with the different shading there of the sort of darker brown to the yellows to the darker brown there, and again the sort of black section with a sort of brown wash over it to really highlight the sort of hair detail. It is just done really well. As you can see, the sort of brown wash to really accentuate the texture and the different shadings really does help bring the sculpt to life and really makes it feel like a lifelike thing. It does really pop, and you've got a slight sort of orange wash there. It really does make the figure seem to have that sort of lifelike effect with all the different shading. It's just done superb. Great paint apps on the top of the Vespiform there, as you can see. It's just done really well, and definitely does look like an actual insect of the wasps, doesn't it? Really, it's really done superbly. If we move to the wings, not much you can say. We've got a nice sort of black trim there. They're sort of this hard translucent plastic, and again we've got a slight detailing of sort of the veins there on the wings, and that's exactly the same for both wings. So yeah, not much to say, but they are these chunky thick translucent bits of plastic. The legs continue that sort of great shading effect there at the top of the legs there, and again we can see it sort of fading from that yellow to a more darker colour scheme where the joint of the leg would be, and again that nice shading of the section detail and black wash on the actual feet of the Vespiform. Certain legs have the nice sort of fur detail there, and that's been given that sort of orange wash to really highlight the detail, and again it continues that great shading effect on the actual Vespiform itself. It is really detailed for what it really is. So if we move to the bottom half of the Vespiform, you've got a great sort of traditional wasp design there with a nice sort of circle motif with the sort of black and yellow motif, which is great, which is done really well. If we move there, we continue with a nice little bit of shading detail of the sort of orange to brown, and we do have a slight bit of fur texture detail there, but that's been painted in black, which you can just about make out in the light, which is very well done. And of course we continue the same sort of detail on each of the legs. So if we move to the lower half of the Vespiform, probably the bit you don't want to encounter the Vespiform with that nasty old sting, because it will probably hurt. So if we move here, so we've got the great sort of texturing there of the black and the yellow, and a slightly darker yellow wash to sort of show that shading to give it that lifelike effect there. It's done really well with a nice sort of section detail. It really does look like a wasp, doesn't it? It's really nice with a sort of a different section detail there, and it gets smaller as it goes along. And again we continue that nice shading effect there with this sort of darker sort of browny orange look to it. Then we have the stinger itself. Again, nice little bits of detail, sort of ridge effect there, nice little bit of texturing and a black wash to really accentuate the sculpted detail. And yeah, it just looks like it does in the episode, doesn't it? And removing the Vespiform from the stand, it is revealed that you can see a little bit more detail there of the first sculpt in there, which really does make it seem really lifelike. So to put the Vespiform on its stand, what you'll need is basically the stand, and just to pop it in like so, and you've got your Vespiform in its stand, and it's a really nice little display piece for the Vespiform, which is absolutely wonderful. So I really do like that. And the stand is able to give the Vespiform a few more dynamic poses, so you can have it slightly twisted to the side to give it a few more little action shots when it's flying towards the Doctor. It really does help sort of show the various little action poses and does help it become even more alive and really does pop on the shelf. One last thing before I do my overall thoughts on the Vespiform figure, I thought I'd do a little size comparison. So here is Mr. David Tennant against the Vespiform there, and you can see the sheer scale and size of the Vespiform figure. It is a really great big chunky deluxe figure, and I can see why it was made as a collect and build figure, because it is Quite a big figure, as you can see. So what are my overall thoughts on the Collect and Build Vespiform figure? Well, I think that it is one of the best figures Character Options have produced, and it's a little bit of a shame that it is a Collect and Build figure, but not many people get to experience how wonderfully detailed this is. The paint apps are some of the best Character Options have ever done, with various bits of shading on the Vespiform. It really does have that real lifelike effect, and definitely does look like a real life wasp, which is great. It's just a really stunning figure, great articulation, and you know, you can really display it in some really nice dynamic poses, and it's definitely a highlight of the Character Options figure line, and probably my second favourite Collect and Build figure. I mean, K1 Robot is just iconic, I love the K1 figure, but the Vespiform is a very close second, just for paint apps, for detail. It is just a superb figure, and if you've got parts of the Vespiform and you're thinking, oh, I'm never going to complete it, try and complete it, because it's definitely a great payoff to see it displayed, and it is definitely going to be a holy grail in the Doctor Who figure line. So if you're thinking about completing the Vespiform, do try, because it is really worth it in the end, because it is a real great display piece and really does pop alongside the other Character Options figures. So thank you very much for watching this Doctor Who figure review. I hope that you've enjoyed this. If you've enjoyed this video, then please do give it a like and subscribe, because there'll be plenty more Doctor Who figure related content, because we've got the new B&M sets, so there'll be plenty more figure related content. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time for more Doctor Who related content. Take care, and I'll see you very soon. Bye bye.